Good evening. It's November 3rd. It's 7:04. November 2nd. November 2nd, I'm sorry. I'm trying to rush it. First on the application for a hearing is Leslie and Margaret Brooks, 21 Sunrise Shores. The applicant is seeking a special permit to vary the minimum land area from 43,560 to 16,117.2, and a variance to vary the minimum lot frontage from 150 to 100. Hi, Can you please state your name?
By introduction, I'd like to, tell you who I am and whatever. My name is Les Brooks, Dudley resident since 1966, and family and myself have contributed a lot to the Dudley area, Webster Dudley area. My wife was a nurse for 30 years in Ward C at the Hubbard Hospital, the old regional hospital. My son is a 30-year teacher in the public school system in Dudley, at the middle school in Dudley. I myself was a lawyer and professor of law, and then I worked. It was kind of interesting. I don't want to get into it too deeply, but Nichols College, where I was a professor for 40 years, had a policy where they wanted people that taught their particular subject to actually do it, so an accountant would have a CPA firm and all that. And as a lawyer, they allowed me to practice law. So I had a kind of a dual career. And if some of you remember, James Whitney, he was the state representative in this area. He was my law partner. And then I went in with Al Ehrlich from Webster and spent years doing that. I was also the president of the board of directors of the Southern Worcester County Rehabilitation Center, which is takes care of the retarded and works with that kind of thing. Volunteer work, obviously, all of it was, just like you guys. And I was elected 3 times as town moderator in Dudley, and thanks to Tony DiDonato, who grabbed me and said, "You're going to do this." And I said, "I don't think so, a lot of work, this and that." He said, "No." He said, "I've already paid the $10 or something, or whatever it cost to register yourself." So, we've done an awful lot for the town. We've been here for years. And what I did was, years ago, in 2002, I guess it was, I purchased a lot that I hope to build on, or to have my son or somebody live there. And so we came down to town hall and all that, and they said, "Well, you could put it all in one, this, you could do that." And I said, "No, we'll decide, we'll pay the fee, whatever it is." And we did, and we've been paying, the tax bill in separate, deeds and so forth. So that was kind of the history of the property. We paid a higher tax bill for the past 16 years based on the idea of building, or at least using it for construction, for something for the family to do. And we did it in good faith. I mean, resulting in financial hardship in a sense, because we had no way of getting around that, okay? So I wanted to show you a little bit about it, so that I got a star on it, okay. So that you can see that there is no damage to the neighborhood, or whatever you might call it, detriment to the neighborhood or something like that. You can see it on the map here. This lot is the largest lot on the street, and so I put a star on the one that I was. So as you can see, there would be no detriment to the public good or anything like that by granting the variance and the special permit.
The one with the star is, that's the
Star
last
is
question?
I'm sorry, the star is the lot that I'm talking about. Is the lot that I'm requesting the variance on.
I have a question. Through you, Mr. Brooks, through the
I
chair.
can't hear you.
I'm sorry. Through the chair, I have a question.
Oh.
Lot 4, as I'm looking at it, Lot 4, the one right next to where you put the star.
He's,
5 is the one.
5 is the one, but I'm
I
talking.
started.
Right, I see that. Lot 4,
I think he
Lot
made a
4, do you,
mistake. It's this one.
You mean 5, you started 8.
Oh, lot 4.
right, I'm asking about Lot 4. Lot 4,
Any idea?
okay.
Or somebody else's property.
Right. I understand that Lot 5 is yours. Does Lot 4 have any?
Lot 5 is the subject matter.
Right, correct. My question is, does Lot 4, do they have any issues with you doing what you're doing? Since I don't see any
Absolutely not.
butters here.
Absolutely not. No, they're not here. They signed the paper. They even spoke to me.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Brooks, the lot that you put a star on is lot number 8. And the paperwork here says lot number 5.
It was kind of, it was odd, wasn't it? I mean.
I think you marked the wrong lot.
I think
Yeah.
you marked the wrong lot because this lot, the one that you marked, number 8,
Yeah.
doesn't have any water frontage.
That's right.
I think I gave them all back out there, didn't
Yeah.
You want to give him one?
There's no water frontage on that lot.
Didn't I do it right?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
It's 5 and 6.
That's okay, that's okay.
why
No
we-
problem.
We were kind of like,
Be on the same page.
That's why we wanted to, we wanted a point of
Well, that's why
clarification.
you asked the question.
We want a point of clarification.
So
All
it's,
right.
Thank you.
It's lot number 5 and 6.
5, gentlemen.
now I can see that lot number 5 is the largest lot up there.
And it is the largest, is it not, Mr. Brooks?
It is. the
Okay.
largest On the street there, you can see that. They were all laid out on a plot, that passed the zoning, and then they changed the zoning law or something from, I don't want to say it again, but I thought it was lot 15, and then they moved it to 43. And when you take 43, zoning 43, the only person on that street that's affected is this lot that I owned. All the rest of them had houses or this or that on it.
So all the rest of these lots are all built out.
Yes, they are, well, except for one, I think. Except for, there's one here that's still wooded there, and I think Mr. Rayla purchased it, so, and he's gonna have a building maybe put up there for his daughter or something. I think that's how that goes. I'm not sure.
but everything else is built on. Everything else has got a building on it in these lots?
Excuse me?
Everything else is built on, has a building on it? Yes. Every other lot has a building
Oh,
on it.
yes, everyone except that one that Mr. Rayla purchased
The
it.
wooded lot, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which lot is the wooded lot?
It's right beside the street, where the street comes down.
So it would be 8 or 9?
Is it the one I started?
No, it's this one here.
Oh, okay, lot 3?
3,
Yes, you're right.
That's wood.
Oh, that's the wooded.
that's the wooded one.
One that Mr. Rayler is, that's
Okay.
left on the street that's wooded.
And has water frontage?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have one question on this plot plan on lot number 5. It's saying there's a concrete pad from a former building.
Yeah, I have it here.
What was that building?
We don't know.
It was before us.
Way before our time, and
Size of a
I
shed,
came-
the size of a house? Is it?
It's all cement.
It was like a slab, for the start of or a building, But somebody said, I asked around and all that because we couldn't find any. I came down here to see if I could find out something about it, and it was in archives or something. This goes way back, excuse me, way back. And it was, somebody said that there was a building there, and this person said they slept there, with the guy that lived in the house next door there, and that they owned it. Other than that, I could find nothing except that there is a slab there. The possibility exists that there was a building there at one time, but that's all I could get. I didn't want to bring that up because I thought I don't have any evidence of that. It sounds like I'm just saying it,
Through the chair, Mr. Brooks, you said that there was someone that slept there, so that would imply to me that maybe there was a home there at some point? You don't know, but there was someone slept there.
Well, it was our son who said that
Okay.
there was kids
Okay.
that had a building on it.
Okay.
But the lot that I'm requesting is not in any, detriment to the neighborhood or anything like that. It certainly fits in with the neighborhood. It was on past zoning when they did lay out the first plot on it and so forth. It was a buildable lot right up until they changed this zoning rule. Everybody on the street has 100 feet of frontage, and like this one that I am requesting, and the zoning rule says 150. There's not a single person it has 150, and the same thing with the rest of it. So that's why we're here, to get this thing zoned, and we can build a house on it, that kind of thing. So.
Okay, so with the merger law, how I understand with the merger law, you stated that there was 5 exceptions?
Yes, yes. You're talking about 40A?
Correct.
Yeah, okay. The exceptions are in the law that was structured. The first thing that they pointed out, that the purpose of this law, that's 40A, was not to hurt anybody, but it was to provision of the paragraph to be construed to prohibit. It is not, no provision of this paragraph shall be construed to prohibit a lot being built upon. In other words, they don't want to penalize people by the statute, but what they want to do is to allow the development of the area and keep it same as the area and all that kind of thing. And a lot of case law comes down to us from the state. The purpose of 40A was to encourage housing, to encourage the most appropriate use of the land. The use of the land or structure is reasonably necessary for reasonable interpretation of 40A, which means, in effect, that the law is passed to do good things about the statute, to create better neighborhood or whatever it might be. It's not put there to prohibit. In fact, at one point, and let's see, Laura Webster versus the Board of Appeals in 349 Mass 17, it says the Board of Appeals, that's you gentlemen, the Board of Appeals is given the authority under 40A Section 4 plus and 15 to grant an exceptions in harmony with the general purposes and the intent of the law. And so even though 40A is in here, as long as it's relied upon in good faith and is in harmony with the general purposes of the rest of the law and so forth. One of the key cases was Ballinger versus Zoning Board of Uxbridge in 395 Mass 829 in 1985. And this had to lay out a couple of things, and one of it says the lot that were in question should have a plan, should have passed the zoning at the time it was created, and we do. Okay. The second thing is it says there must be a minimum of 75 feet of frontage. So by reducing, that kind of thing, by giving a minimum of 75 feet. It must meet zoning requirements as of 1976, which it did. And those are the kind of exceptions. Jenkins versus the voting board says the ZBA has discretion. The court, in that case, in Jenkins, the court held that the zoning board of appeals had discretion to uphold a special permit or anything within your discretion. And let's say it must be in conformity before this law went into effect, and it was not a detriment. And it's in one key case, Sturgis versus Chilmark, 380 Mass 246, a 1980 case. They argued that protecting a lot from being unbuildable is wrong. I mean, it's not right. In a case where the ruling is you can't build on that lot because it doesn't meet 48. In Sturgis, the court held that a lot must be protected. It cannot be unbuildable. That kind of thing. The lot must retain its separate identity, which it does, not affecting zoning in a district because it's in effect enhancing the district by another house. It would provide a substantial hardship, which is what happened to me. We've been paying double taxation for two lots, well, the one I have my house on and this one. We've been doing that for 16 years. Plus, if it's not a buildable, it's worthless. And so the point of the law, which was interesting, is not to do those kind of things, but to enhance the area. That's what the purpose of the law was, not to penalize somebody and that kind of thing. And so relief can be granted without substantial detriment to the public good. Well, I think that's pretty obvious. And before the law there, the merger law, the lots was in conformity with zoning and relying on it in good faith. So I think all of these things fit in here, that we're not, changing the structure of it by changing the 40A thing. We're looking forward to joining the rest of the people on the street with, we have the largest lot on the street. And then the other thing was a major exception, and I think you're all familiar with this. If there was a building already on the land, like you tear down the building or whatever and put up another one, that 48 doesn't even apply, or this law doesn't even apply. Is that right?
I think that's where you win here, because it's my understanding the doctrine of merger is if the same title holder owns both parcels,
Yes.
then there's no longer two lots, there's just one.
Yeah.
An exception to that would be if one of those lots, Lot 5, there was some building on it. Well, it certainly appears like there was one here.
Yes, it does, and that's.
So that
but I
being the
couldn't
case,
prove
I don't
it.
think the doctrine of merger applies.
Yeah.
Rather, 40A applies, and you're seeking a special permit, and
Yep.
the criteria is that there's no substantial hardship, and I don't see any hardship here.
Okay.
So I'd make a motion that we close the public hearing.
Second?
Okay. Motion's been made and seconded to close the public hearing at 7:23. Let's have a vote.
All those in favor?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Oh, good, thank you very much, gentlemen.
Well, that was the motion to close the public hearing. So now, I'd make a motion that we grant the special permit along with the variance as requested by the petitioner in light of the fact that the doctrine of merger does not apply. And based on the evidence, the testimony here, I don't see any detriment to everyone else in the neighborhood. Has got a 12,000 square foot lot and they're built on. It's not like they're open. In fact, if you think about it, it's pretty easy to decide this way. You know? So I'd make a motion that we grant the request.
So moved.
Okay, a motion's been made in second to approve
All those in favor?
the special permit and the variance. The special permit to vary the minimum land area from 43,560 to 16,117.2, and a variance to vary the minimum lot frontage from 150 to 100. Okay,
All those in favor?
all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, now I can say
I can say,
thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brooks.
Thank you.
The boss.
Yes.
you're from Queens? You're from Queens? You are?
I was born in Queens. Lived there until I was 8.
Oh,
Then my dad died. Moved to, because my mom,
was from here?
Charlie.
Okay. Oh, okay. That's a familiar name. Yeah,
Is there anything else, Gloria?
Yeah, I have, I typed up new, member lists. Did you just review them?
Kind of messy.
My term expires in 1,
yeah. One?
6/31. Send it back.
Pencil in 21.
You've been done for 16 years.
No. I'm gonna have to break down and get an email that I can actually read.
Just send me back the corrected one and I'll correct it.
Okay, anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay, someone make a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
Motion's been made and second to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Kind of a mess.
Opposed?
No.
Motion carries.
I can read your handwriting.
All right, well, when you get